How did the 49ers dismantle the Titans yesterday? It's pretty simple. Brock Purdy and Ricky Pearsall. And Kyle Shanahan spoke today on a conference call. What's the status of Pearsall's health? Not great. What is good, everybody? Welcome to another Gold Standard podcast. I am Rob Stats Guerrero. We are part of the Pro Football Insiders. Vish Kumaran's going to hop on in a bit, but we are here celebrating a victory Monday as the 49ers dispatched the Tennessee Titans 37-24 on Sunday. This is the show where we go through drive by drive and break it all down. Now, Vish can only join for a short portion tonight, so we might do things a little differently. But look, for the 49ers offense, it was pretty simple. They scored on their first 5 possessions of the game. They were, in a word, sharp coming out of the bye week. Brock Purdy especially was sharp, particularly on third down. Brock for the game on third down, I wrote it down here, 9 of 10, 96 yards, and 7 first downs or touchdowns on those 9 throws. You can't really get much better than that on third down on the most impactful plays of the game. Brock Purdy, sharp. Ricky Pearsall, by the way, sharp. Even though he suffers that ankle injury on the hip drop tackle on the first friggin' play, he still comes back and he's kicking ass, is Ricky Pearsall. Again, particularly on third down, he was a monster for the 49ers. And then, of course, the end of the game, he makes the catch. He lands on his knee, the knee that he previously hurt that cost him 6 games. And so when Kyle Shanahan had his conference call, he was asked, is there a concern about Pearsall's health because he missed so much time previously after injuring that knee? Here's what Shanahan said.
There is a concern. I think, just seeing kind of how those have gone this year. I think it's the same thing you guys would see with Mac when he was in. Mac aggravated his PCL, and when you land on that, it's real painful for a while, and but it can go away, and that's how you'd see it with Mac throughout the games, and that's kind of how it's been with Ricky. Hopefully, it's not at all like it was when he first did it, but it does take time to for that pain to go away, and hopefully that'll be sooner than later over these next 8 days.
You don't love hearing that, do you? It doesn't fill you with warm and fuzzies when you hear Kyle Shanahan say there is a concern. Now, I know what people are going to say. Ricky Pearsall, he's hurt all the time. He's soft. He's injury prone. And I got to tell you, it's not a great day for me because I have been defending Ricky Pearsall because I don't think he has been injury prone. He didn't miss a game in his career in college. I know he's had injuries pop up during training camp and stuff, but if they don't cost him games, I don't really care. So that, to me, I only care about being injury prone if it actually costs you games. This year, it has cost him games, and it may cost him more games, Vish. Kyle Shanahan saying Ricky Pearsall aggravated the PCL injury. They don't think he's going to be able to practice this week. They don't know. They're claiming, but it sucks because he and Brock were on fire on Sunday.
It was not just that they were on fire. They made a point to feature him clearly, and we see what he unlocks in the offense because he brings something that they don't have from anyone else on this roster when he's not healthy, and that's the ability to consist. Drew Brees kept talking about it, right? He kept calling him Pearsall. And
how could no one get that guy? Kyle doesn't get his name right. It's Ricky Pearsall. It's super easy. Just read it how it's written. Kyle doesn't.
Or do you think it's maybe the other?
No, I think it's Pearsall. You can go on. The 49ers have a thing where you can hear every player say their own name. It's Pearsall.
Okay. Anyway, he was calling him that, right? And he was talking about how he's the one guy on this team that can threaten any corner vertically, which he can, and his route running is special. His ability to accelerate and decelerate at the top of his break, the moves he puts on at the top of his break. He's a very good route runner with very good ball tracking. And he could have had, 115, 120 yards in this game. Him and Brock took a little bit of time early in this game to find their rhythm and get going, but it's a huge loss for them if he's gone for an extended period of time, because he's one variable in their offense when you play a team like the Rams that doesn't have great corners on the outside. You need a guy like this that, you can throw the ball to and really challenge man coverage with.
And on third down, especially 3rd and 13, he goes to Pearsall for 14. Oh, Vish just dropped out for a second there. When he pops back in, I'll throw him back on. 3rd and 13, Pearsall for 14. 3rd and 4, Pearsall for 10. 1st and 10, they go, that's the 38-yard play. And then 2nd down and 4, I think he goes for 14 yards. Or 2nd and 9, he goes for 14 yards, excuse me. And then 3rd and 11, Pearsall goes for 12 yards. So it was every time they were in a tight spot on 3rd down. It wasn't Juwan Jennings they were going to. It was Ricky Pearsall, and he was bailing them out time and time and time again, including the last catch of the game he had that got them a 1st down on 3rd down and really iced the game.
Well, yeah, and I wouldn't say he was bailing them out because him and the quarterback had great chemistry. They seemed to have the right call. A lot of these were just great throws with great timing, great accuracy, and there's great catches because he's a good player at the catch point. So it was more of that. And he's just flat out better than Juwan Jennings. He brings an element of speed that Juwan Jennings just doesn't have. He, I think, has an ability to run with the ball in space that Juwan Jennings doesn't have, though Juwan Jennings is also good after the catch. But Rob, I thought I would come on here and one of these days you would give me props. I casually told you what this game was going to be at the end of this show, and I've been casually predicting and telling you the outcomes of each one of these Niners games a week before they happen. But you just glossed over that and went forward, man. What's that all about?
Did you predict the 49ers would win? I mean, they were playing the Titans. You want me to break my arm?
I said it would be a blowout. It was going to be an everybody's going to look good. They're going to look back. Brock's going to be back kind of game. That's how it was going to look.
Yeah, well, not everybody looked good because the defense looked horrific.
This is who the defense is. We can get to that, but yeah.
I mean, look, the offense, like I said, first 5 drives, they come out and score points. They were rolling. Everything was good. Brock looked patient and calm, and he just looked like he was in complete command. They did it every way you could possibly want to do it, right? Their first drive was 12 plays, 70 yards. It was their 25th drive this year of 10-plus plays. That was the most in the NFL. They also had a touchdown drive in the second quarter where they went 7 plays, 70 yards. They had a touchdown drive in the third quarter where they went 4 plays, 67 yards. And they also had a 15-play, 95-yard touchdown drive in the game. Any way the offense needed to perform, they did.
Oh, definitely. And they were playing a defense that you could take advantage of, right? Part of my glorious prediction was I'd seen how the Rams offense had looked the previous week, or the Browns, excuse me. My God, I'm not having a great show. Excuse me. The Browns offense had looked with a quarterback I didn't feel that was very good in Shedeur Sanders. And I was like, yeah, this is going to be the everybody comes back. Everybody gets on track. They're going to come out of the bye. They're going to look like world beaters sort of game, and they did exactly that, Rob. The offense looked exactly how it should look against the Tennessee Titans, and you got to give them credit to that. Brock Purdy looked exactly how Brock Purdy – actually, no, he looked better than Brock Purdy should look because he had an outstanding game. And he looked like Brock Purdy, right? He was doing his Brock Purdy thing where he has this uncanny confidence, and it was working out for him all day yesterday, and it was awesome to see because when you have that sort of confidence and things are going for you, you have a swag and a competitive just ability where you feel untouchable. You're walking on water, and that's how Brock Purdy can feel and look at his best, and that's how he felt versus the Titans with the jump pass, the way he was running around, the way he was juking guys out. He was just in a flow. He was just making things happen. Now, I'm just going to leave it at that. We don't need any now. We don't need any but. We can leave it at that. Hell of a game, Brock Purdy.
Look at this. If you're watching the stream, you can see I grabbed the picture of the Brock jump throw. When he starts the throw, he's off the ground. You can see in the picture if you're watching the stream. And Kittle he's just started his break back to the middle of the end zone. Breeze was laughing on the broadcast because he's like, that's what us short guys have to do sometimes. But unlike past jump throws that we've seen from Brock Purdy, which always make me a little queasy, this was a no-risk throw because there was nobody in the middle of the field except Kittle. Like, it wasn't like when he's thrown into a crowd in the middle of the field. It was just George there, and Brock had to jump to get it over Jeffrey Simmons' ridiculously long arm.
Yeah, it was a really cool play. And it just goes to show how instinctive he is as a football player, right? That's kind of what makes him succeed, in the sense that, like, you can think and you can understand football from an X's and O's standpoint, but what people don't account for is the fact that you have to be able to think and process that in real time. So it almost has to be second nature. You have to be very instinctive in how you're able to process that. That's why some guys are really good backups, because they can understand the game in theory, but then there's an instinct to being able to play. What makes Brock good and bad is, and mostly good, is that he just kind of reacts on the football field. He has a great way about him. He's clearly extremely prepared and he knows what he needs to do. But then what happens on the field is just him being as instinctive as possible, him just trying to make a play on any given play, that sort of thing. And that's why there's not even a hesitation in that moment. There's not even a second thought. He's, oh, I need to throw it to Kittle. How do I throw it to Kittle? I need to jump. He just jumps and he does that. And it can sometimes lead to what I used to call in Iowa State some of the dumbest things I've ever seen a quarterback do. Sometimes it's happened with the 49ers, but more times than not, that instinct allows him to play a certain way. And then when you pair somebody's fearlessness and instinct with a play caller that's right 90% of the time, and this is a guy who knows how to play within the offense, he's fearless and he's instinctive, you have the success rate that the 49ers have had when Brock Purdy starts with Kyle Shanahan. You have the touchdowns George Kittle has had when Brock Purdy starts. All of these things happen when all of those things come together.
And you knew it was going to be a good day on the second drive of the game, because the Niners get the touchdown on the first drive. Tennessee gets a field goal to make it 7-3. Niners get the ball back, and it's 2nd and 3, and Brock has Pearsall wide open in the middle of the field, and he overthrows him, which is like stunning, because you're like, I can't believe that happened. But on the next play, Brock is scrambling. He looks like he has a chance to run for the first down on 3rd and 3. But to me, this showed just how in control he was, because he didn't just run for the first down and say, okay, let me get my 3 yards. It wasn't just like, look at one read and run. It was look, extend the play. I know I can get the first down if I run. I'm keeping my eyes downfield. And he throws it downfield and he hits Demarcus Robinson for a 30-yard gain, flipping the field. All of a sudden, they're in Tennessee territory. And I thought that sequence of, yeah, you know what? I missed the throw to Pearsall. I did. But on the next play, hitting Demarcus Robinson for that gain, it was like, oh, all right, Brock is locked in today.
Yeah, 100%. And this whole game, that I love that you went to that play, because that was a great play. But this whole game, anytime he got outside of the pocket, just great things happened. Anytime he was able to hold on to the ball, almost felt like freelancing. Tennessee could not compete with the Niners. And, Shedeur Sanders did quite a bit of freelancing, and he put up the stats he did. And Brock Purdy, within the offense and freelancing, was able to just be successful yesterday. I will say one thing I have some hesitation for, if we want to go to the disclaimer.
Right.
I feel like it's a very, very bad recipe going into Indianapolis, and a much more unpredictable defense, and a guy who's going to be very game plan specific in terms of how he takes chances in Lou Anarumo. He's going to expect you to play a very buttoned up style. And the problem with the swag that comes with Brock Purdy doing this is, we've seen, hey, when the Niners match talent with another defense and a defensive coordinator takes chances, this swag can also lead to mistakes, like the Seattle game. Yes, he had a game-winning drive to win them that game, but he also had 2 horrible interceptions in the second half against Mike McDonald and co. He was also injured. We don't know how much that affected it, but he was on the field. We got to evaluate the product we got. And so that's my one hesitation going into next week. But besides that, like, the Niners are rolling, man. Brock Purdy's rolling. Like, this is the stuff we need. His mistakes are the one thing that we have identified as, hey, beyond their defense being completely terrible, offensively, the one thing that can hold them back is, I guess now with Pearsall's injury, that holds them back, that they don't have a true number 1 receiver. But then also Purdy turning the ball over. And some of the things I saw against Tennessee made me feel like, yeah, this is awesome, but I don't think this would work if it wasn't Tennessee also. Not everything. Obviously, everything he does work. I'm talking about some of the more risky, out there things he was doing.
Well, that's the next level. Now, I didn't think he put the ball in harm's way against Tennessee.
No,
But
no, not at all. It was just
I
the freelancing, the way it was going. Like he was almost playing with the risk-free, nothing's gonna happen, and nothing was happening. But that same like kind of style can also lead against a different defense
to trouble.
yeah, trouble. Oh, sorry. I was just gonna leave it at that. Like,
Like you're
yeah.
trailing off here.
Yeah, yeah. Because I think everybody knew where I was going, and this isn't to me the game or day, Rob, to get into. Well, he could make a mistake if he did this. When we just watched a freaking game where he didn't make a mistake, he just did it, and he had the game. He had an outstanding game.
Well, this is the concern going forward, and this combines with the defense is Brock and the offense has to play at this level if the Niners are going to win because Tennessee went up and down the field on the 49ers. They were running the ball down the 49ers' throat all day long. The Niners could not stop them, even situationally. That was the part that drove me nuts, Vish. Situationally, they were bad. Perfect example at the end of the first half, right? Tennessee, the Niners get the field goal. It's 17-10. You're up by a touchdown. First of all, Eddie Pinheiro kicks the kickoff out of bounds. Now, the ball was literally falling off the tee as he was kicking it. I don't know why the refs didn't stop the game, but whatever. That was the first thing that hurt the 49ers. Then the Niners are, they're making them work for it. And then all of a sudden, we see just incompetence from the 49ers defense. What happens? Malik Mustafa has a chance to make an interception. It hits him in the hands. They finally got a pass rush on Cam Ward. The ball hits Mustafa in the hands and he drops it. And the very next play, he overthrows Van Jefferson, which should have been a touchdown because Renardo Green bites on a double move, Vish. Why is he biting on a double move when there's no time to go in the first half? Who cares if Van Jefferson catches a 5-yard pass, Renardo Green? You can't get beat deep. And thank God he overthrew it, but it just underscores this defense has to catch those interceptions. They have to make the turnovers when they have a chance because they're literally not good enough to stop people.
You're absolutely right. And Tony Pollard had a good day running the ball. They're pretty hopeless stopping the run against just about anybody. Everybody's going to be able to run the ball against them. I agree with you. They have to be very opportunistic because in neutral situations, they're not going to get many chances to out-talent people because they're not so complex with the way they line up that they're going to just give people too many problems in a neutral situation, not like a third down or a must-have situation. Just, hey, 2nd and 10 from the 20. They're not going to do anything but play quarters coverage. And then they're not talented enough within any of those areas where, hey, they're going to rush the quarterback, so they're going to protect the back end. They're going to cover somebody, so now they can rush the quarterback. Like, none of those things happen well enough in concert. And then, let alone if they force the quarterback to check it down, they don't come up and tackle very well. Though, it was a little bit better in this game. But again, Tennessee doesn't have anybody that's really stellar with the ball in their hands. And it's not like they tackled Tony Pollard a lot great when they had him in space in the run game either. For me, Rob, the biggest point within all of this is what we touched on last week with, it feels like Shanahan has changed as a game manager, right? From the Browns game. No. That was specific to the Browns game because the script of this game was similar to the Niners in like 2023, for example, when they're on top. The way their offense was just able to go up and down the field and build this huge lead. Now, their defense has never been this horrible under Shanahan, and this one is due to injury, but they've never had an issue where a team goes up and down the field. And if you looked at the way Shanahan coached with the lead and made his decisions, it felt like old Shanahan. I mean, the last one, Rob, I don't know how we're going to go through this game, so I'll just touch on it, is the last drive of the game. They had 4th and 1 and the ability to close the game out from the Tennessee 22 with the 10-point lead. And Shanahan wanted to almost play for the field goal in that spot, kick the field goal to like sigh relief because of the 28-3 lead when a 10-point lead and a 13-point lead are not so dissimilar in terms of, hey, the team's going to have 2 touchdowns to, win the game. And if they get a touchdown and a field goal, they tie the game at 10 points and they lose the game at 13 points. Like, you know what I mean? You could close the game from 4th and 1. These sort of little things that we thought, he's become analytically more aggressive. It's not the case.
River, thank you very much for becoming a new YouTube channel member. We appreciate it. Shout out to all the YouTube channel members. If you want to become one, it's less than $3 a month. You get custom emojis, membership badges, priority comment response. We appreciate all the members. As I said, the defense in the fourth quarter, especially, like, I don't know what happened, Vish, but I was ripping my hair out because the 49ers scored the touchdown at the end of the third quarter to go up 31-10. That was the 15-play, 95-yard drive. And I'm like, oh, this is sweet. Christian McCaffrey can chill on the sideline. This is a 21-point lead. This is beautiful. And then what happens? Niners get the ball back. Jeffrey Simmons destroys Spencer Burford and strips Brock Purdy. By the way, the only person running after the fumble on that play was Brock Purdy. Kendrick Bourne is half-ass jogging over because all he was concerned about was getting his freaking bonus, which, by the way, on that possession,
he
all
got
the
it right.
Niners were concerned about that. Brock forced a pass to Bourne, and they threw him another pass. He's actually a yard short. I don't know why we're so concerned about getting Kendrick Bourne his friggin' bonus. Like, who cares? But whatever. The Niners turned the ball over, and then it was comical. 2 plays later, Tennessee scores a touchdown. They give up a deep pass to Van Jefferson for 43 yards. I don't know how Diamondor Lenore and Malik Mustafa do not make a play on this ball. They are waiting for the ball to come down, and neither one makes a play on it, and Van Jefferson catches it.
Yeah. By the way, I mean, we've touched on this show, Diamondor Lenore not playing the best football. I saw a tweet from Kyle Posey, and I think you and I, find KP to be one of the go-to guys on the Niners beat, but just one of the most knowledgeable people when it comes to breaking down the Niners. And he was saying that they've been playing a lot of cover 6 from what he's seen on Diamondor Lenore's side, because Lenore has really struggled with route distribution and passing off routes in zone and which ones he carries when he has to play down the field. And I'm not surprised by that, to what you just said, right? Diamondor Lenore, Jair Brown, they were the ones who screwed up this one.
Josh Dubois has the tweet. The Niners have allowed opponents to have a 101.1 passer rating this year. That would be second worst in franchise history to the 105.4 they allowed in 2018. Quick check, Vish. Who was the Niners defensive coordinator in 2018?
In 2018, Robert Saleh.
Interesting. Okay, just wanted to double check that real quick.
Rob, look at the personnel they have this year, though. This is horrible. This is on the GM.
He's got his 2 starting corners, man. That's who you could say all the injuries, yeah, but the 2 starting corners are there. Diamondor Lenore is not nearly as good as he thinks he is. He is.
Oh, yeah. Diamondor Lenore has not been that good this year.
If he was half as interested in covering dudes as he was in talking trash after the game, he would be a hell of a lot better. I will say that.
Well, yes, but yes. Okay. I'm not going to necessarily disagree with that, but that aside, their defense, it's not talented anywhere. Like, I know they've been pumping up Brown and saying, oh, Brown has played really well because they've just asked the safeties to play quarters, and Brown is probably the second best quarters safety, I guess, after Mustafa. Their safeties are not that good. Their corners are just okay. Their linebackers are not that good. Their defensive line is not that good. Like, there's nothing Saleh is working with. Like, if you said as a defensive coordinator to Saleh, you have one advantage in this game, where is an advantage on this Niners defense? Where is one part of this defense that you can say, I can make this an advantage going into a week? There's no edge player that wins one-on-one. There's no interior player that wins one-on-one. There's no player that really excels in man-to-man coverage. They don't tackle very well.
Dude, you had your 2 starting corners against the wide receiving core for the Tennessee Titans. That is Van Jefferson and Chimere Dike. Like, what are we talking about here? You can't stop those two.
You can't say his name like that and make it not funny.
That's his name.
No, you can't go Chimere Dike and then make me not laugh. Come on.
That's his name. I didn't make it up.
If you don't say his name like that, you can say Chimere Dike. We're talking about a stud. Like, he just rolls off the tongue.
Look, I didn't name him. Okay. Talk to his mom. All I can do is tell you what his name is. It's Chimere Dike.
But I agree with you in the sense that, like, we probably expected better, versus Tennessee, just because Tennessee has struggled, though they've picked it up a little bit the last few weeks on offense. They don't have anything really to write home about. Cam Ward is a rookie. That's always tough, and you can always give a rookie quarterback a tough game, and their weapons aren't that great, right? But the reality is the 49ers defense is just that level, Rob. That's what they are. That's the personnel that's on the field, and that's on the GM to me.
Well, yes, but it's on multiple people. But here's the part that bugs me, Vish, is it'd be one thing if guys are just getting beat physically on the field because, hey, if you don't have the talent, you don't have the talent. But there are coverage busts every game. They just lose people, and it's on the same concepts. The Shador touchdown to Fannin in the Browns game is the same concept they gave up the touchdown to, who was it, Gunnar Held or whatever his name was. That's the same freaking concept, and they blew the coverage both times. That to me is coaching.
No. If we say they're playing simple coverages, right? And when you play simple coverages, it's really not that simple because you need to know how teams are now going to defend you in every way and how you're going to communicate through that, which is what they're doing. And they're unable to communicate, hey, when this guy comes here, this is how we're going to play against this. They're not on the same page in communication. How do you complicate it then? Like, you are taking simple and saying, look, to our defense, we can't do all this complex crap. We're going to stay simple. We're going to play quarters coverage for this percentage of time. We're always going to play too deep. We're going to keep everything in front of us, blah, 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 blah. And you're watching this simple stuff have so many mistakes where linebackers miss assignments. They don't tackle very well. The corners are missing assignments. The safeties are missing assignments. You're seeing it all over the place, right? We're seeing them play bad teams, beat them handedly, and have those mistakes occur pretty much across the board about this defense. How is that coaching? To me, it shows that the personnel is so bad that there's really nothing you can do with them.
If they're simple concepts and you keep screwing it up, to me, that's a coaching message. You're either coaching it or you're either coaching it or you're allowing it to happen. Like, sorry, man. Like I said, if it's a physical thing, that's different. Sometimes you guys, you don't have the physical guy, like the pass rush not being able to get home.
Different. You can't complicate it, right? Like, they're staying simple.
You need to find a new way to teach it. You got to find a way to get the message home, man. You can't get beat on the same concept again and again and again. That's a coaching issue. They're leaving guys wide open. Jeffrey Simmons got wide open in the end zone, for God's sakes. I mean, stop covering people.
So their defense is bad. We agree there, right? And they're coming off of a great win. And unfortunately, we need to hammer that point home because this is a team that's right on the precipice of the 1 seed. They're right there with the best teams in the NFC. So we have to analyze them in a way that's not thinking about them against Tennessee, thinking about them against the Rams, the Packers, these sorts of teams that are at the top of the NFC, because that's where this team is. And when you look at it like that, the thing is, where do you expect their defense to go? I love getting on the coaching, right? Like, I would love getting on Chris Kasarik, but realistically, Chris Kasarik can't turn Keon White into Nick Bosa. Like, Chris Kasarik can't turn these guys into that. And that's what's going on this roster. Like, the players even that we thought were excellent, right, coming off, like Lenore, he has not played like a player that they can build around where it's like, hey, Bosa and Warner are out. We can feature Lenore on this defense. No, Lenore makes as many mistakes as the next guy. Green, to me, he's a nice player, but he's not shown anything where it's like, yeah, we can put Green and trust him in coverage in these sorts of situations. The two safeties, we've hammered that for a long time. Winters is supposed to be the guy that's been getting credit, but Winters is frankly not that good of a player. He's great in a role next to Warner where he's run and hit, but we see all the mistakes he makes when Warner is not there. The guy that plays there, whether it's Bethune, Curtis Robinson, Eric Kendricks, whoever you want to put in that spot, is not that great. And then we come to the defensive line. Collins isn't a pass rusher yet, but he's good against the run. Elliott's been good against the run, but they were missing Elliott yesterday. That was a big loss for them.
They missed him.
White is a great role player in the Ronnie Blair kind of style for this defensive line, but he can't be your primary pass rusher. Huff is great versus some teams in certain situations, but not in every game dominant, like down in, down out pass rusher. There's not really guys we're working with where there's a win condition on this defense, right? This is pretty bad.
But here's the thing. The pass rush is different, Vish. To me, That's a not having the horses thing. Like Chris
Mhm.
Kasarik, like you said, he can't turn those guys into Nick Bosa. They don't have the physical talent, but they are not losing in the pass rush game because the other team is out scheming them, right? They are losing in the pass rush game because they're just not physically, they just can't do it. But the coverage, they're not getting beat from the neck down. They're getting beat from the neck up. And that's why I say it's a coaching issue.
Well, and okay, I get that because we've seen Lenore with another coach play a certain level, and this coach seems to have not gotten that level out of him. Lenore aside, right? Extension, team captain, him aside. Brown, Brown has been an issue busting coverages, missing tackles, all of these things his whole career. In fact, you could argue Brown is playing by far his best football when you take everything together the last 5 weeks with Robert Saleh. Mustafa was more welcomed because he was better than Brown, but Mustafa had mistakes too. And we've seen glimpses of Mustafa coming downhill and hitting the way Mustafa did as a rookie. But Mustafa has also made the mistakes he made as a rookie. This time it's just been exacerbated more than it was as a rookie. So that kind of leaves Mustafa where he is. And then we haven't seen Green with anyone else. This could be, who Green is, unfortunately. And so that's where I'm coming to the personnel thing of, hey, your solution at safety was to get Jason Pinnock. And now the defensive coordinator has to be creative where Upton Stout is there to cover, and then Pinnock is their big third safety who plays the run, and he's pretty bad in the box. He's pretty bad. Sometimes he misses tackles, all of these sorts of things. So there's not a lot of solutioning or money invested in this where if you say take Bosa, take Warner out, we're going to give you personnel that you're going to actually be able to do anything with. To me, this is a GM issue. This is a, hey, we didn't draft well enough on defense the last few years issue. And also, yeah, we got injured. But that's where this starts to me. This isn't a coaching issue. I feel like the coaching actually has made the most of it in a lot of ways, though. Yesterday was just garbage all around. It was bad coaching, bad everything. It just wasn't good.
Antonio asks, when is Bethune supposed to return? I have the injury updates for you here. If you're watching on the stream on the conference call, we talked about Pearsall a little bit. He may not practice this week.
Brutal injury.
It's so frustrating. Spencer Burford checked out pretty good, is what Kyle said. They think he's going to be able to practice this week. He does not have a high ankle sprain, which is massive for this team because the options after Spencer Burford at guard are frankly scary. Jordan Elliott is expected to return to practice. Nick Martin is still in the concussion protocol. That's a bummer. But on the good news, Samo, Tatum Bethune, Eric Kendricks, and Yetur Gross-Matos are all expected to practice this week. Vish, I never thought I'd be thirsty for Tatum Bethune to come back to the lineup, but holy crap, they need help at linebacker because the trio of D. Winners, Luke Gifford, and Curtis Robinson, they ain't getting it done.
Yeah, they just need Bethune back because he's athletic. And the other guys next to Winters are just not athletic enough to cut it for what this defense expects them. This River VF says they won by 13 points. Yeah, they could have won by 30 points. This was one of those games. They were not playing a good team.
They were up by 21.
That's why I told you this was going to happen with them. I've gone full. I know I told you so. Full sportscaster. I told you so.
Man, we've gone to a dark place after a victory. But look, we're taking this attitude because we know what's coming, right? We know that they're going to have to play better against the Colts and against the Bears and against the Seahawks. And the reality is, like you said, everything they want is still on the table. First of all, the Niners.
I'm nervous about the Bears game, by the way.
Well,
they gotta get that one for me. But the way they run it with Monungai and Swift is going to be. It's going to be a huge issue for the 49ers defense.
Yes.
Huge issue.
Here is the thing, though. The good news is, number one, the Niners could clinch a playoff spot by doing nothing. If the Lions lose to the Steelers next week on Sunday, the Niners clinch a playoff spot, which I think is important, Vish, because if you're trying to figure out what to do with Ricky Pearsall, if you clinch a playoff spot, maybe you don't play Pearsall on Monday against the Colts. That changes maybe how you look at things. But they can clinch if the Lions lose. They can clinch if they themselves beat the Colts. That's all it takes to clinch a playoff spot. Or I guess theoretically, if the Niners and Colts tie, they would also clinch.
But I feel like you're not looking at it from the aspect of their whole fortune changes if Seattle goes and beats LA on Thursday. Because
Yes.
if Seattle beats LA, essentially they got to think we can go win the division week 16 at home versus week 17 versus at home versus Seattle.
Well,
Like
forget the
that.
division. They could be the number 1 seed if the Rams.
Exactly. And so now all of a sudden your stakes become way different because you think, man, the bye makes a big difference. We have some aged people, we get them healthier. Then you think, shoot, for our defense, being at home would be a huge advantage. We could get loud at Levi's, we could give them that sort of support, that confidence. There's so many variables that come into play. And the Rams are banged up now. Devontae Adams has his hamstring re-aggravated. It's setting up very different where we might not look at it as, oh, the Niners clinch and they need to get healthy here. It might look as, oh, the Niners got essentially 4 playoff games to finish because they can go get the 1 seed.
Yeah, that's all on the table, and it all has to enter into their thinking. Vish, I know you said you had to leave after 35 minutes. Do you need to go?
5 minutes. I got 10 minutes, maybe 5-10 minutes. 7:37. Yeah, 5-10 minutes.
So the Niners defense could be getting some reinforcements back against the Colts, but I worry about Jonathan Taylor, and I worry about, like you said, the Bears the next week, because those are 2 teams that can run the hell out of the football. And we've talked about the game script the Niners have to have. The Niners have to get up early, get up by multiple scores. Hopefully the other team is not able to run as much as they want, and then maybe they can control things with their offense. But I think Indy and Chicago are going to be able to run, going to be able to control time of possession. It's going to be dicey.
Oh, 100%. I think Indy now, right? It's a much more interesting game when you take the Daniel Jones factor out and put Phillip Rivers in. You got to feel like I don't know how I should say, like, I feel like you got to favor the Niners versus Indianapolis just based on that factor. And the Niners are a 10-4 football team. You got to feel good against Chicago. I think Chicago is a really tough matchup with the way they run the football, but they're going to win that one for me. Me and Kyle Shanahan, our birthdays fall on the same weekend. We're just a day apart,
Oh, happy birthday, Vish.
Thank you, Rob. I just thought I would throw that in. But I'm December 13th. Kyle's December 14th, both of us.
Oh, I would have made a little thing. I make a thing for everybody. I didn't know that. I'm sorry. Happy birthday.
It's an under the radar thing, Rob. It's okay. I don't want people to know that I'm barely older than Brock Purdy. 2 days.
If you are watching the stream right now, the Rivers passing chart is on there. He was 2 of 8 on passes beyond 10 yards and 9 of 9, passing behind 44. But here's the thing. He's not going to have to throw deep, because I think it's always going to be 2nd and 5, 3rd and 1, because the Colts are just going to run.
It's different though, right? Because it can be a game script, get them out of the run situation. That's where the offense getting out ahead is so important for the Niners, where they can almost control the game script where if you want to run, our offense is going to then keep the ball for 7 minutes, and then you can have a 7-minute drive, but we'll stay up 2 scores the whole time, that sort of thing. That's where the Niners want to live and play. So to me, you're right. I think it makes some sense there. The Bears, obviously, it's going to be the same issue. Hopefully you can keep them off the field, but Caleb Williams also will make a few mistakes and miss a few throws. That's how it's looked so far this year. So you have this sort of setup where I do feel like they'll be playing for the 1 seed. I don't think the Rams are going to beat Seattle on Thursday.
And Seattle, man, look, they found a way to win it. Credit to them. But I do think that their offense has slowed down considerably from where it was earlier this year. Now, their defense is still very good. The Colts did basically nothing in the second half of that game. They completely had shut down the Colts offense. It's just that Sam Darnold and company wasn't holding up their end of the bargain. I think the Rams, I don't think the Devontae Adams injury is going to slow them down that much at all. McVay is freaking.
Wow, we have to believe it. Like, we don't we feel the 1 seed?
No. I mean, look, they can still get it, absolutely. And in this crazy ass year, certainly anything can happen. But I think the Rams, I don't think Seattle's nearly as good as people think they are. Their defense is very good.
They're not.
But the
they
Rams
beat up really bad teams, and they struggle to beat any team that's, good or what we would consider conventionally a playoff team, that sort of thing. I agree with you. But Seattle is the more healthier. I just need Seattle to win. You see how it lines up for the Niners if Seattle wins. You see how this works? You
First
see
of
how
all,
it makes it really easy for all of us?
I just can't wait to watch the game on Thursday. Like, I'm glad I get to actually watch it because I didn't get to watch it last time they played because the Niners are playing at the same time. So I just want to watch and enjoy that. I'll watch it on mute because Al Michaels does a disservice to football the way he announces games. But I think that the Rams are going to beat them. I think the Rams are going to pressure the hell out of Sam Darnold again. And if that happens, if I was a Seahawks fan, I would be terrified with that guy as my quarterback because every time he plays the Rams, he gets consistently pressured. And when he gets consistently pressured, he folds.
Yeah, you're right. The Rams have given him problems, no doubt about that. Rob, I I just need to be in a world where there's this sort of energy traveling towards Niners 1 seed because this season is rounding out in a way, and you don't wish injury on anybody, but
Correct.
Patrick Mahomes is not going to be in these playoffs. Look at the quarterbacks in the AFC.
Yep.
Look at what's going on with, Green Bay losing Micah Parsons, who was their big acquisition. That's brutal. Get better, Micah, but sorry, Green Bay. This is the year, Rob. And their defense, we went down it. We already did it on this show. Their defense has so many problems. But yet this is the year. Go get that 1 seed. Come on. We need all that energy to travel because here's what upsets me too. If it all works out for the Rams,
Right.
the McVay-Shanahan conversation becomes like untenable for us.
Oh, yeah. You wouldn't
And
be able to
it becomes one of those things where it's like we can't control the results, but deep down I'll know that Shanahan could have won 2021 too. It's not like you take Shanahan, how he coached in the Super Bowl in 19 or how he coached the Super Bowl in 23. He wins the 21 Super Bowl versus that Bengals team versus Zach Taylor. And then this year, come on. Like
Right.
just everything we are, Rob, everything we stand for, what we need in life, our energy should be directed towards somehow making Seattle beat the Rams. Like I'm not gonna make a football argument to it because you're right about the Darnold stuff, you're right about everything. But I'm just gonna keep intrinsically putting the energy out there and believing it.
This is the most fan I think I've ever seen you, Vish. You are full on Niners goggles right now. I kind of like it. I'm not going to
I
lie.
need it, Rob. I need it. This year feels a little bit like the way the NFL is rounded out. It feels like if there was ever a year to go grab it, like it's right there for you. It's there. And the Niners, despite everything that's gone wrong, have shown that they can go grab it. What's there this year? They're right there. They haven't knocked themselves out.
No, they have not. As Vinny says, the NFC is wide open. You didn't even mention the Micah Parsons injury for the Packers. That's a massive injury.
I did. I said,
You
get
did?
better
I'm
soon,
sorry.
Micah. Yeah.
It's a huge injury for that. It changes everything for that defense. I'm not denying it's wide open for the 49ers. The Rams lose on Thursday. The Niners control the number 1 seed. If the Rams lose,
because of how they've done in their division.
yes, because if the Rams lose, the Niners can get the number 1 seed by winning out, and nobody can stop them. That is an insane statement to say. And how great would it be, too?
And they have it at home versus Seattle.
Well, and not only that, the Niners, this is the last road game of the year for the Niners, right? So they go to Indy. The game against Chicago and Seattle are at home. If they somehow got the 1 seed, they're done flying anywhere for the rest of the football season.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Rob, I got to go in a minute or two, but this is it, Rob. This is the year. Like, this is one of those things where, like, in 19 and 23, they had the team for it. It just wasn't meant to be. This year, they don't have the team for it, but, like, it's just meant to be. The NFL season has made it meant to be. Like, if there was a season where you can go win a Super Bowl without your 2 best players, it's this one. The NFL sucks. Like, look at how much pressure's on the Bills. And you know what? The Bills suck. They're Josh Allen and a bunch of misfits. And now just because of Josh Allen, there's an incredible amount of pressure on them. And you know what the awesome thing is too, Rob? They won't be favored against any of these teams. Green Bay will have more pressure than them. The Rams will have more pressure than them. Seattle will have more pressure than them. Whoever comes from the AFC, depending on who their quarterback is, will probably have more pressure than them. It's working out, Rob. It has to be this year. This is the one. This is the one that can save like all of our conversations, all of our arguments.
This is Doctor Strange giving Tony Stark the one in the Avengers.
Yes.
Like, the scenario.
Yes. That was my take after the Super Bowl, that some of the decisions Shanahan made was because of the whole Doctor Strange joke. This is what he saw then, that this year would come to fruition. Look at how it's opened up. No Patrick Mahomes. You're going to play like Drake May in the Super Bowl. You're going to play Bo Nix in the Super Bowl. This is the year. And like, yeah, the defense sucked, but I know what it's like to go into a Super Bowl and have a way better team and an aging defense. That's what the Niners lost to in 2012 with Kaepernick. The Ravens defense sucked. It wasn't that good. It didn't suck, but it wasn't. It wasn't the Ravens of old. It was one of the worst defenses they had with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed in that iteration. And yes, it just has to work out. Defense just has to go from being bottom of the league to middle of the league in the playoffs. Offense just has to go from being top of the league to unstoppable when you bring in the playoff situation, the way they run the ball. And the Niners offense is capable of doing that. They have the best offensive coach in the league. They have Hall of Famer Christian McCaffrey, Hall of Famer George Kittle. Purdy's coming off of the best game he's played this year. He's looking awesome. Everything, the offensive line has had a pretty solid year. Everything is just there for them to just catch on fire, Rob. Maybe Pearsall gets, a couple weeks to get healthy, because that's where you went before this conversation started of how they could go to the 1 seed. But this is the year, Rob. This is the year. If they were stacked this year, I would put all my money on it. I feel like, man, if they don't do it this year, they're never going to do it. And I'm depressed whether I have my money or not. So why don't I just put all my money on it? But yeah.
Bish, fired up. I am stunned. I haven't seen you this positive and this fan forward and maybe ever. I love it. Please bring me more of this, Vish Kumar.
I don't think it's just worked out narratively in my head, Rob, except for this one. And when you looked at this game, how it worked out, yeah, we beat the dead horse with this game. The offense was great, the defense sucked, the Niners still killed them. That was that, right? But then you get into you start moving forward and seeing what's coming forward. It's wait a second. All Seattle needs to do is go beat the Rams. And then it's the Red Sea has opened for the Niners. And then when you look at the whole landscape of the league, that's where you feel like it. Because at the end of the day, what happened to the Niners, it's Patrick Mahomes has this sports story, and the Niners just happen to be that team in Patrick Mahomes' sports story. It's like the teams in Brady's sports story, right? But guess what? There's no Mahomes sports story this year. It gets to be someone else's complete sports story. It doesn't have to be part of the whole Mahomes thing where it feels like the narrative, it just works out for him because he's Mahomes. He's the person. He's the hero. He's the protagonist of this. Well, this is a chapter that's not including the protagonist. This is a complete side mission, side episode for the NFL. Why can't the Niners be the winner of the side episode? Why not?
Why not? I mean, you talked about it. No Mahomes, maybe no Lamar Jackson in the playoffs. Who knows? No Burrow. We know he ain't going to be in the playoffs. It's Josh Allen and a bunch of dudes that I would take my chances against any day of the week.
Dak's playing great. He's not going to be in the playoffs.
Right. It's wild.
Look at the quarterbacks in the playoffs. Hurts is playing poor. Whoever's going to win the NFC South, Baker has slowed down from his hot start, and it could be Bryce Young and the Panthers. Yep. Jordan Love has been a little bit up and down. He's really good when he's good. He can be bad when he's bad, and it feels like he's streaky throughout the game, up and down. Hurts, we already covered, is not very good. Stafford obviously is the one, but the Niners have that Rams thing with the Rams where it doesn't matter how much more talented the Rams are. They're a divisional opponent. They know each other. It's going to be a different sort of game. Oh, Rob, it's right here. Come on. I really got to go. But Rob, we have to put the energy out. We are Seattle Seahawks fans for this 1 week.
You're right. You're right. I won't be cheering for them, but
I'll be cheering for them. Come on.
I hope that they win the game. I won't actively root for them. I will root against the Rams, and that's probably how I will phrase it. I will root against the Rams.
And you love them in a make or break game versus Sam Darnold at home. Come on. You love that. You want that. You need that. And you need Darnold to play poorly. This is your own personal narrative on the line, too. Now you're as invested as the rest of us, Rob.
This is the one. We got to hope that this is the one. It's the Doctor Strange year. Vish, thank you so much. I love the energy and the passion. Keep it up. I know you got to go, but thank you as always, and we'll talk next week.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rob. Go Niners. Go. Let's go. This is the year, man.
There you go. That's Vish Kumaran, everybody. Fired up as I've ever seen him. That was shocking, Vish Kumaran. Well done, sir. He's right. He is right. And if the 49ers had Bosa and Warner, I would take them to be the Super Bowl favorites by a mile if they had both of those guys healthy. It wouldn't even be close. If they can hang on and figure this thing out. And yeah, the 1 seed would be nice. It's a long way to go before that. As we have seen, the landscape of the NFL can change dramatically in a single week, right? How much did it change yesterday? So the 1 seed, put that out of your mind for now. Just getting in. And you look at the matchups. First of all, if the Niners get the 5 seed, like, thank you, God, because then you play the winner of the NFC South. And I would absolutely favor the 49ers in that game. I know the Niners lost to the Buccaneers earlier. I don't care. I would favor the 49ers in that game with the way everybody's playing now. So that's like immediately in your future. And if you can get the division, great. You'd still take your chances against anybody. I give the Niners a chance against Seattle. Obviously, we'll see that again. Give the Niners a chance against Green Bay. Absolutely, particularly without Micah Parsons. We don't know if the Lions are going to get in or not. They may not get in. The Panthers, the Niners already beat, and they played terribly in that game. The Eagles are more talented than the 49ers for sure, but the Eagles can beat themselves. I mean, they can just completely break down. So that would be scary for sure. But there is no game that the 49ers could go into against anyone in the NFL where I would be like, they ain't winning this game. There is nobody right now, even in the AFC. And I know there are some good defenses. Hell, Jacksonville's playing well right now. Trevor Lawrence is on a bit of a heater, but I give him a shot against anybody in the NFL. And that is the message that I would drill down if I was Kyle Shanahan. Again and again and again. Just pound it into the dirt. It's all there for us. And I think he is. I think, look, they know. Brock mentioned it the other day coming out of the bye week. They're like, hey, did you look at the playoff scenarios? He was like, yeah, that's the business we're in, he said. So they know what's there. So, you know, I think Kittle talked about it a little bit too. They're not coming out flat. They know what's there, and I think they know the game script that they need to win. They know they got to come out fast. They got to get touchdowns, not field goals when they get down there, because their path to victory is widest when they have a multiple score lead early and they can dictate the terms of engagement. They know who they are. They have an identity. They know who they are. Most of the time they execute situationally, particularly the offense, and they know how they have to win. And it's just going to come down to, can they execute those things down the stretch? And can the defense, as Vish said, go from bad to just mid? Can you make that shift? And obviously, can you get Warner back and all that stuff down the line? But if you can make that shift, it's there, man. It is there. And I think the belief is starting to build with this team. And it'd be very interesting to see what happens against the Colts, against the Bears, and of course, the Seahawks in the final week of the regular season. Brett says, who would have thought after losing Warner, the Niners would be in the running for the 1 seed? Right. Like, we would be having this exact same conversation if Bosa and Warner were healthy, which is a weird thing to say, but it's the truth. It's the absolute truth. CT Niner fan says, Rob, you're the best, man. Appreciate all you do. If you ever want to meet up for a brewski, I'd be down. I'm up in Middletown. That is shockingly close to me, CT Niner fan. Thank you. By the way, if anyone wants to buy me a beer, I'm always down for that. But shout out to you and all our YouTube channel members as well. River says Brocky takes them to the NFC Championship game. It's not that far-fetched. That's the thing. Especially if they were to play like the Panthers in the first round in the wild card, right? You win that game, then you're playing for a shot to go to the NFC Championship game. So it's like, it's not the craziest thing in the world by any stretch of the imagination. And sometimes weird stuff happens in the playoffs. There was a year with Tom Brady where I think he beat 2 backup quarterbacks on the way to the Super Bowl. Like, that's just how it works out sometimes. And we don't even remember that, right? That gets lost in the sands of history. We don't remember that. But remember that he got there, right? Remember what he won. Maybe it's that year. Maybe it's that year for the 49ers. I don't know. But you know what? I can't wait to find out. And I can't wait to find out with everybody. That's been the kind of craziness of this year is like, we're all sort of, we come down for these instant reaction games and we're all like, is this really happening? Like, how are we doing this? And I've talked about this in the past, but these are the years when you are not the hunted, when you are the hunter, right? When your expectations are low. And then throughout the course of the season, you dip down in that roller coaster and they get even lower, but you keep winning games. There's like a belief that builds among you and the fan base. And we're all kind of looking at each other like, they keep winning. Like they could do this. And it just keeps happening week after week after week. And that's where the Niners are right now. They got a game against Indianapolis with a 40. Nobody thought a 44-year-old grandpa would be the quarterback of the Colts when the Niners suited up for this game. We had no idea. We have no idea what's going to happen. So to rule anything out at this point would be illogical. We would. That's just what this season has taught us. Plain and simple. Now, before I go, I do want to give a shout out to Sleeper. We appreciate Sleeper for everything that they do. I'm going to get the app up in a second because I want to show you. It is really cool. We're grateful that they have come on board. The app is one of the best that I have seen, and I have been around for a little while, as I unfortunately remind people on the daily. I've seen some apps. I've tried a bunch of apps. I never tried Sleeper before this year, and I was a little bummed because I wish I had, quite frankly. It's awesome. I'm going to put the app on the screen. It has everything. It has news. It has fantasy. It has picks. Here you go. You can see it right now. You can make picks on the Monday Night Football game if you wanted to, which is still nothing, as the app has told me. You can make picks for the other NFL games, obviously, or you could choose different sports. You see NBA is there. College football is there as well. Boxing. They got everything on the Sleeper app. There's your news as well. I throw that up there. You can see you scroll. There's the Micah Parsons news. They have fantasy games for you. Just go and check it out. And I promise, and check out the little icon. Did you see that? With the Santa hat? I love that. I love when they do the little things like that. I love when the NFL has the Christmas decorations on the scorebug. It's fantastic. But go and check it out. Just download the app and you'll get a free $20 entry. You don't have to deposit any money. You'll get a free entry. And if you want to deposit money, use our code GSP. You'll get up to a $100 match on your first deposit. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. So check out Sleeper today. Pick higher or lower on your different stat categories, and you could win up to 1,000 times your money. Thank you, everybody. Thank you to Sleeper again, as always. I was a little discouraged by the Pearsall news, but even if he's not there, I still think there's a path for victory for them against the Colts. And if they beat the Colts, you're going to see this shift into overdrive. And this is something that Dieter Kurtenbach has talked about a little bit. Nationally, the narrative on the 49ers. Right now, they're there. Everybody sees the win total. They see them in the standings. They don't dive into the games that much because the schedule has been what it is. So people are just like, yeah, the Niners won. Ho-hum. Sure, the Niners beat the Colts. Oh, what do they do in this nationally televised game? Oh, Brock threw 3 picks. Oh, he's terrible. He stinks. Oh, but they beat the Panthers that game. But now they're playing on Monday night against the Colts. This Rivers thing has generated an additional amount of attention. Niners win that game. All of a sudden, people are going to go, whoa, wait a minute. The Niners have 11 wins. We've seen them beat the Colts now on Monday Night Football. This isn't the Texans or the Panthers. This isn't a tomato can like the 49ers have had on a lot of their schedules. And then next week, they play the Chicago Bears. And they play the Bears on Sunday Night Football. And that'll be another nationally televised game where all the eyes are on the 49ers. And if they can win that game, then it's like, whoa, now you'll see the narrative totally flip on the 49ers because people will start paying attention. So it is going to change very much. You're not going to hear boo about the Niners this week because they beat the Titans. They were up by 21 points at one point, and that's going to be that. But it's going to change very quickly. The eyes of the NFL world will be on the 49ers, and we'll see if they can live up to it. But I like the mentality of this team. I like the grit that this team has. I like the determination they have. The fact that they aren't the most talented team this year, the fact that they are still winning games, I think, it serves them well a little bit. They talked about earlier this year, right, feeling themselves a little too much after wins. I think they realize now they can't do that. They're not good enough to do that. They know how they have to win. They know who they are. But I think it's sort of protected them from one of their biggest weaknesses, and one of their biggest weaknesses in the past, because they were so damn talented in the past that they did kind of sleepwalk at times. You could see it. There is none of that this year because they know they're not good enough to do it. So we will see if it carries over. It is going to get so much more fun the next 3 weeks. So it's just going to ratchet up and up and up. And we hopefully are going to get more and more excited. And regardless, we will be here sharing it with you. If this is your first time checking us out here on the Gold Standard 49ers podcast, please come back, like this video, subscribe to the channel. It costs you nothing to subscribe. Here's what you get if you do. You get the most passionate, you get the most informed and objective 49ers analysis ever. I know Vish was a giant homer tonight, but trust me, when the team is bad, we also say they're bad. Please give us a chance. I promise you will like what you hear if you come back. So please like this video, subscribe to the channel. If you already have, thank you. Tell a friend, make them go subscribe. I promise they will enjoy it and they will like it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Enjoy the rest of your Victory Monday. You can see my Victory Monday shirt, which, by the way, if you want your own, there's a link to the shirt. Just click the homage link, and that'll take you right there. You can go get your own Victory Monday shirt. You should. You may need more than one with the way this team keeps winning. I got to wash this thing before the next couple days here because they got a game coming up. But regardless, thank you, everybody. Again, enjoy Victory Monday, and we'll talk tomorrow.